The story of Moses and Pharaoh is recorded in the book of Exodus, from chapter 5 to chapter 14. The Israelites, also known as the Hebrews, were enslaved in Egypt for centuries. After the time of Joseph, God Jehovah chose Moses as the leader to deliver them. When Moses approached Pharaoh and demanded that he let the Israelites go so they could worship God in the wilderness, Pharaoh refused as a result. God sent 10 plagues to demonstrate his power and force Pharaoh to comply. However, what is noteworthy is that, even though Moses performed many miracles, such as turning a staff into a snake, turning water into blood, and causing frogs to overrun Egypt, Pharaoh did not immediately yield. To understand why, we need to consider the historical and theological context. Egypt at that time, often estimated to be around the 13th to 15th century BC, though the exact date is debated, was a powerful empire with an advanced civilization. The Israelites were a vital source of slave labor, contributing to massive construction projects, such as pyramids and the city of Ramesses. Releasing them was not just about losing workers, it also threatened Egypt's economic and social stability. In the Bible, this story is not just a political or economic struggle, but a spiritual battle between the God of the Israelites and the gods of Egypt. Each plague directly challenged an Egyptian deity. Water turning into blood defied Hapi, the god of the Nile. The plague of darkness challenged Ara, the sun god. Through these plagues, God demonstrated his supremacy over all the gods Pharaoh and Egyptians worshipped. Moses, along with his brother Aaron, performed numerous signs and wonders before Pharaoh. Here is a summary of key miracles and Pharaoh's reaction: staff turns into a snake. Exodus 7 verses 10 to 13. O Moses threw his staff down and it became a snake. O Pharaoh's magicians replicated the miracle through sorcery, but Moses' snake swallowed theirs. O Pharaoh's heart remained hardened. Water turns to blood. Exodus 7 verses 20 to 22. O, the Nile and all water sources in Egypt turned to blood. O Egyptian magicians replicated this, so Pharaoh was not convinced. Plague of frogs. Exodus 8 verses 6 to 7. O frogs covered the land, but Pharaoh's magicians could do the same. O Pharaoh remained unimpressed. Flies. Livestock disease. Hail locust. Darkness. O, by the 4th plague, Pharaoh's magicians could no longer replicate the miracles. O, still Pharaoh refused to let them go, though he briefly pretended to comply. Exodus 8 verse 28. The 10th plague. Death of the firstborn. Exodus 12 verses 31 to 32. O, this final plague forced Pharaoh to release the Israelites. O, however, he later changed his mind and pursued them to the Red Sea. The Bible repeatedly mentions that Pharaoh's heart was hardened. Hardened heart. 3 main factors explain this. Pharaoh was not just a king. In ancient Egyptian culture, he was considered a living god. He represented mad cosmic order and had absolute power. Pride and authority. Accepting Moses' demands meant admitting defeat before a foreign god and an insignificant leader, a former shepherd and fugitive. Exodus 2 verse 15. Skepticism. Initially, since his magicians could replicate Moses' miracles, Pharaoh had reason to doubt Moses' superiority. Economic interests. The Israelites were valuable. Freeing them meant losing a significant workforce for Egypt's construction projects. A controversial aspect of the Bible is that God himself stated that he would harden Pharaoh's heart. Exodus 7:39. 12. This raises the question: Did Pharaoh have free will? To understand this, we need to examine both theology and language. In Hebrew, the term hardened heart, chazak, can mean to become resolute or to be strengthened. The Bible shows that Pharaoh hardened his own heart. First Exodus 8:15, 8-30 to a later. The Bible states that God hardened Pharaoh's heart. Exodus 9 verse 12. God did not force Pharaoh to act against his will. Instead, he reinforced Pharaoh's existing stubbornness. For a greater purpose. I have raised you up for this very purpose, that I may show you my power, and that my name may be proclaimed in all the earth. Exodus 9 verse 16. Theologians like Augustine and John Calvin argue that Pharaoh's stubbornness was a combination of his free will and God's divine plan. Pharaoh chose to resist God, and God used that resistance to fulfill his redemptive purposes. Egypt's polytheistic beliefs played a crucial role in Pharaoh's response. He was not just defending his political power, but also the religious system he embodied, challenging the Egyptian gods. Each plague was a strike against a specific deity. For example, the plague of locusts, Exodus 10 verses 13-15, was a direct challenge to Men, the god of fertility and crops. Pharaoh as a divine being. As the son of Ra, Pharaoh believed he had supernatural authority. Submitting to Moses meant denying his own divinity. Pharaoh's hardened heart was not just a personal issue. It symbolized human resistance against God's will. Ultimately, after the 10th plague, Pharaoh was forced to release the Israelites. But his stubbornness led to the destruction of the Egyptian army in the Red Sea. Exodus 14. This story is not just a historical account. It is a spiritual lesson about pride, faith, and divine intervention. Pharaoh refused to let the Israelites go, not just for economic or political reasons, but because of his pride, skepticism, and blind faith in his power and God's. Through this, God used Pharaoh as an instrument to fulfill his promise to his people. Thank you.